everyone, my name is Ijeoma Ucheibe, and yes, welcome to my channel where I talk about everything HR related and its intersection with the law under the Naija HR Chic Series. I'm recording from a very brand new location, but the content still remains the same. If this is your first time to my channel, what are you waiting for? This is the time you need to click the link below and then subscribe. We're going to be talking about something that has been on my mind for a couple of months now. And it came to the fore when we had this viral video on the internet where someone was laid off because keystroke login was used to find out that she was not being very productive with her time and that of the organization. And that is what is leading to this conversation. Is it legal to have keystroke login to determine whether remote workers, especially because this is speaking to people who work from home mostly, is allowed? Is it something that is legal? Is it something that should be encouraged? Is that something that should be inculcated in organizations to be sure that employees are on track, to make sure that deliverables are done as at when due? These are the questions that we are looking to answer in this video. I'm not sure we're going to get to all the answers, but I'm hopeful that with conversations, like I always like my videos to be very interactive, we'll get somewhere. So I'm going to post the screenshot here, as you can see, which is talking basically about what happened to the lady in question in Australia and how it was taken to the Fair Work Commission and then how it ended. I don't particularly like how it ended, but at the end of the day, sometimes I feel that on the one hand, the organization did what they had to do to be sure that they were protecting themselves. On the other hand, I felt that they should have actually protected the name and maybe even contact details of this person, because now we're saying that she may be suing that organization for mental health related reasons. So where do you draw the line as an organization when you feel like, okay, you've caught this particular employee doing what they're not supposed to do, right? And then you have to take measures to make sure that it serves as a deterrent to people who might be thinking of wanting to toe that line. Where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, enough is enough as an organization? Where do you also say, I want to protect the information of said employee, so that even as I am trying to make sure that I'm not encouraging this kind of practice at my organization, it also shows that there's a humane side to the organization. This is where HR comes in. What do you do? How do you advise management? I, for one, am not a fan of making sure that people do their work, because at the end of the day, in trying to find this work-life balance, you want to be able to trust that people are self-regulating to do what they need to do as at when do. And then someone's going to talk at this point of the video that Nigerian companies or Nigerian employees left the chat. But we say this every time, we laugh about it, but at the end of the day, we have to be able to talk to ourselves. If you are able to put an emotional intelligence training in place right before people even start this work from home arrangement, it will be helpful, because part of the training is to also measure how ready the organization is on the one hand, and how self-regulating these said employees are going to be. Because it's one thing for you to trust that employees are going to do what they need to do as they're working from home. It's another thing for that said employee who you have that trust in to do what needs to be done. And in this case, the company trusted that this said employee was not going to make them look like they were fools, and that did not turn out to be the case. So going forward, what do you do? First of all, I always advise, and I think that is something that we do not really appreciate the importance fully. I think in Nigerian companies, start with getting an emotional intelligence training done. You can never assume that everybody is ready to work from home. There are people that will be content commuting to work because they feel like, I can see someone across the table who I get to work with every other day. There are people that just like their alone time, even if it's just 1 or 2 days they have to work from home. That emotional intelligence training measures how ready the organization and then said employee or employees are ready for that arrangement to be in place. Secondly, what that training does for you is for you to measure how self-regulating some of these employees are. That way you know the persons who you think should work from home for 2 days and who you should put on the schedule to work from home for a day. Secondly, this works like magic for me. You set up a check-in meeting every morning, because at the end of the day, you want to be sure that these persons know what they have to do for that day. You set up a check-in meeting right in the morning. So let's say you resume at 8 a.m. You set that check-in meeting for 9. It is as whatever sleeping, whatever running around, whatever school run you're doing, for people who have kids or have to look up childcare arrangement, that 1 hour is sufficient time for them to be in the mind zone where they have to be in a meeting and contribute meaningfully. And then I've seen that, yes, as much as we want people to put on their videos and you want to see people's workspaces and be sure that they are ready to work, I have seen that that doesn't always work, not because of data related reasons, but because if you say you trust me to do what I need to do from home, I feel asking me to put on the video, that's just my thought, is a stretch. What that's also let you know as an organization that I trust you to do the needful. If I have to get you everyone to put on their videos, okay, maybe I'm trying to throw in a point that I feel is very key or is important, and I want to see everyone's face because their facial expressions may matter at that point in time. But other than that, I always advise they must not have their videos on in these check-in meetings that you have. Third, but most importantly, worksheets. So it's one thing for you to tell me you have 5 tasks that you're working on for that day. I want those replicated in a worksheet. And I track. I know people think, oh, we're so busy. What I do most times is at the end of the day, say I close at 5 p.m., I take 1 hour to go through every worksheet, because I'm saying if we close at 6, by 5 p.m., I want all worksheets turned in. Preferably for people who use Office 365, use SharePoint. It has proven to be very helpful for me in this regard. It takes away all the stress of having to get emails being sent to you and they're lost in whatever it is that they're trying to communicate in those attachments. But where you have your SharePoint link in place, what you have to do is just click on the link, see what this person has worked on, and you go through what this person has stated in that meeting earlier in the day, for instance, to be sure that they match. So that way you are able to reduce the need for the organization, as it were, to keystroke log. You see what I did there? Because at the end of the day, we are also looking at privacy concerns. We don't want an employee to sue you and you be like, oh, in the spirit of trying to be sure that they are working, they have left personal information that they didn't want the company or organization to know, and you came across that, and it might just be a very complicated situation. So as much as possible, I try to advise, go for simple solutions, go for sustainable solutions. That way you know there's always a meeting. That way you know that this person is self-regulating enough to know what they need to do every day as a worker in the organization. And then most importantly, they turn in these worksheets. What you're trying to train people is, whether you like it or not, someone who doesn't understand how to use Excel knows how to use Excel by the end of a month of a remote work arrangement, for instance. So by the time we are saying everyone gets to work from home for an extended period of time, they don't have to be taught. But before you introduce these things, I don't always say that every HR professional has to be an IT professional. I am IT savvy, so it's easy for me to be able to put these things in place. If you're not, no pressure. You can always get your head of IT or an IT personnel who works in the organization to run a training for people to know how to set up meetings on Teams if you're using Office 365, or Google Meet if you're using G Suite email applications. And then create this worksheet on OneDrive. That way it's easier for you to share it through SharePoint. That way the app supervisors of those particular employees have access to it. You have access to it as HR to be sure that they are doing what they need to do. And then it helps for the one-on-one down the road. So you see how you're making your job easy. Everyone gets to do what they need to do. And then when it comes time for performance management of said employees, it's all factored in there. At a glance, they know what they're looking out for, what areas of improvement need to happen for that employee. Okay, and I know that these 3 things just look like unachievable, but hey, there's always help when you need it. All you have to do is ask. If you want a further conversation or you want a training on how to get these things done in your organization, my email is down there in the description box below. Let me know what you feel about today's episode. Sorry guys, I've not been on here for a couple of months. I'm back. So I can be found on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram as Ijeoma Ucheibe, and at Naija. I used to be on TikTok as Naija HR Chic, but it's now Ijeoma Ucheibe. So across both LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, you can find me at Ijeoma Ucheibe. My emails are down there below, and I cannot wait to chop it with you guys. But most importantly, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. Let's keep this conversation going. And most importantly, please subscribe to my channel down below. I'll talk to you guys very soon.